Welcome to Sleep Flow Studio. In a time long forgotten, before steel roads and noisy cities existed, there lay a quiet kingdom, hidden beneath layers of mist and memory. It was called Avaloria. Avaloria was a land where mornings arrived gently, as if the sunlight itself tiptoed across the hills. Birds did not sing loudly. They whispered their melodies, as though trying not to wake the world too quickly. And in this soft and peaceful land lived a young wanderer named Elliot. Elliot was not a hero, nor a knight, nor a prince. He was simply curious. He carried a small satchel, a wooden water flask, and an old notebook, where he wrote down things he found beautiful. Most people rushed through life, but Elliot liked to pause, to listen to the wind, to watch the clouds drift, to feel the warm stones under the afternoon sun. One quiet evening, as the sky turned the color of faded gold, Elliot discovered something unusual in the attic of his small cottage. An ancient map. The parchment was fragile, edges curled like dry leaves, and drawn with ink that seemed far older than anyone he had ever known. At the top of the map, in delicate old handwriting, were the words, "The path to Avaloria's forgotten heart." Elliot stared at it, feeling a strange calm spreading inside him, as though the map had been waiting just for him. He packed a few things, wrapped the map carefully, and stepped outside his cottage. The air was cool, carrying the soft scent of pine trees. Fireflies glowed among the bushes, their tiny lights blinking like slow, sleepy stars. The journey had begun. Elliot followed a narrow dirt path, leading toward the whispering forest, a place known for being quiet, deeply quiet, the kind of quiet that made your thoughts slow down until even a whisper felt loud. As he walked deeper, the trees grew taller, their branches weaving together to form a gentle, natural roof above his head. The forest floor was covered with soft moss, so comfortable that even footsteps felt like walking on a dream. Every now and then, a cool breeze brushed past him, slow, steady, as if guiding him forward. He reached a small wooden bridge, lying across a silver stream. The water moved lazily, reflecting the moonlight in soft, shimmering waves. Elliot stood there for a moment, listening. The sound of the stream was warm and comforting, a sound that could slowly, gently, carry anyone into relaxation. Feeling sleepy, Elliot decided to rest. He found an ancient oak tree nearby, its roots wide and soft like natural cushions. He sat down, leaned against the trunk, and breathed deeply. The night was peaceful. Crickets sang quietly, the stream whispered, and the moon glowed softly above him. Slowly, Elliot's eyes became heavier and heavier, and soon he drifted into a gentle sleep at the edge of a world where magic still lived. Elliot awakens. Morning arrived quietly, not with bright sunlight, not with loud birds, but with a soft, gentle mist that drifted slowly through the whispering forest. Elliot opened his eyes to a world wrapped in silver fog. Everything felt peaceful, still, as if the forest itself was waiting for him to rise. He stretched his arms slowly, feeling the cool morning air touch his skin like a whisper. The ancient oak tree behind him creaked softly, a friendly, comforting sound, as if saying, "Good morning, traveler." The silver stream nearby flowed lazily, its surface smooth and calm, reflecting a pale morning sky. Elliot took a deep breath and felt a strange warmth inside his chest, a feeling of gentle anticipation, like something magical was guiding him forward. He reached into his satchel, unfolded the old map, and watched the ink glimmer faintly in the soft morning light. A trail was marked, with delicate curls and lines leading deeper into the forest, toward a place labeled the Hidden Valley. Elliot whispered the words softly, almost reverently. The moment he spoke, a faint breeze stirred, as though the forest had recognized the name. "Bacha," the old woman on the path. Elliot followed the marked trail, stepping lightly on the moss-covered ground. For a long while, there was only the sound of his slow footsteps, his gentle breathing, and the distant murmur of the silver stream. But then, far ahead, he saw something moving, a shape, slow, steady, and surprisingly calm. As he came closer, he realized it was an elderly woman. She was wrapped in a pale blue shawl, its ends drifting in the breeze like thin ribbons of mist. Her hair was long and white, glowing faintly in the soft morning light. She carried a wooden staff, taller than herself, decorated with dried flowers and tiny bells that chimed softly with every step she took. But what struck Elliot most was the peace on her face. Her expression was warm, gentle, almost timeless. The woman smiled as Elliot approached. "Good morning, child," she said, her voice soft, like warm tea on a cold day. "You have come far, and your journey has only begun." Elliot blinked in surprise. "You know about my journey?" The woman chuckled softly, a calm, soothing sound. "In these woods," she said, "the forest whispers stories, and it whispered yours long before you arrived." Elliot felt a wave of calm energy spread through him. "Do you know about Avaloria?" he asked quietly. The old woman nodded slowly. "Avaloria," she repeated softly. "Course is not a place you find. It is a place that allows you to find it." She pointed her staff toward a narrow path, barely visible between the tall trees. "Follow the mist, child. It will lead you to the hidden valley." Drusa, the mist-guided path, Elliot stepped forward onto the faint path. The mist thickened, not frighteningly, but softly, as though embracing him. Every few steps, a warm glow appeared, floating gently before him, tiny golden spheres of light. They looked like fireflies, but much slower, as though in no hurry at all. The old woman remained behind, watching him with a peaceful smile. Elliot felt the mist guide him like a soft hand, leading him deeper and deeper into the forest. He could hear the distant call of doves, the flutter of wings, and the steady rhythm of his own heartbeat, all blending together into a calming, sleepy melody. The air grew warmer. The trees changed shape, their branches hanging lower, covered with silver leaves that shimmered softly. And then the forest opened. Through the entrance to the hidden valley, before Elliot stretched a breathtaking sight, a valley wrapped in gentle layers of mist. Soft sunlight filtered through the clouds, resting on rolling green hills. Clusters of tiny blue flowers covered the valley floor, swaying slowly to a breeze that felt warm, alive, magical. At the center of the valley stood a stone archway, massive, ancient, etched with symbols that glowed faintly like the last sparks of a dying star. Elliot approached it carefully. The air around the archway felt different, calmer, warmer, as though it carried the memories of centuries. When he passed beneath it, a soft chime echoed, not loud, just a gentle distant ring, like a bell heard through a dream. Suddenly, the valley brightened. The mist swirled upward, revealing soft shapes, small creatures with long ears, glowing fur, and eyes like candle flames. They moved slowly, curiously, with no fear. Peaceful beings, born of magic and calmness. Elliot knelt and held out his hand. One of the creatures stepped forward and pressed its glowing head gently against his palm. Its warmth spread through his whole arm, a calming, soothing energy that relaxed him deeply. Perusing the library of whispering pages. Beyond the creatures, Elliot saw a building, round, tall, covered in vines and moss. It looked old, very old, as though it had been standing long before anyone could remember. The door creaked open by itself when Elliot approached. Inside, the air was warm, filled with the faint smell of old parchment and gentle candlelight. Hundreds of books rested on stone shelves, their pages shimmering with a soft golden glow. As Elliot walked in, the pages began to flutter, Slowly, quietly, as if greeting him. In the center sat a round marble table. A single book lay open on it, its ink glowing faintly, like fire gently flickering. Elliot approached it, his breath steady, his steps slow, his heart calm. The book wrote new words on its own, beautiful floating script appearing softly before his eyes. Welcome, Elliot. The history of Avaloria awaits you. Aida, Aida. Harsh the book reveals its first story. Inside the warm silence of the ancient library, Elliot leaned over the glowing pages. The words forming on the paper moved slowly, almost drifting into shape, as if written by the room itself. Each letter glowed faintly, casting soft golden light onto Elliot's calm, wide eyes. The story began. Long ago, Avaloria was a kingdom, woven with harmony. Every creature, every river, every stone held a memory, a quiet echo of peace. The book turned a page by itself, the sound gentle, like a whisper of silk. But over centuries, the echoes were forgotten. People grew hurried, distracted, and the valley faded into mist and myth. Elliot felt the words, not only with his mind, but somewhere deep inside his chest. Each sentence was like a soft lullaby, warm, healing, peaceful. Another page turned. Only a wanderer with a quiet heart may restore what time has hidden. The golden ink brightened just for a moment and then softened again. Elliot whispered softly, "A wanderer?" The library didn't answer directly. Instead, the book closed itself with a gentle exhale, as though it had gone to sleep. But the message still echoed within Elliot. Aida, as a voice in the stillness. Elliot stood, slowly, letting the warmth of the room settle over him. As he turned toward the door, a faint breeze stirred, though there was no window. The breeze carried a voice, soft, calm, and ancient. "Do not be afraid, Elliot." He turned slowly. He was not alone. A tall figure stood beside a row of glowing books. Its form was made of mist, shimmering gently. Not solid, not ghostly, but something peaceful in between. Two quiet amber lights served as eyes, glowing with wisdom and deep calm. The figure bowed its head slightly. "I am Lorien," it said softly, "the guardian of echoes." Elliot swallowed, but not in fear. The presence before him felt comforting, like stepping into warm sunlight after a long night. What are the echoes?" he asked quietly. The guardian raised a hand, and the silver mist in the room began to swirl gently. The mist formed visions. "Aida, you rain visions of the past." Elliot saw Avaloria as it once had been. Children chasing glowing butterflies, villagers sitting beneath lantern-lit trees, rivers humming gentle melodies as if alive with song, and above it all, a shimmering light that blanketed the kingdom like a warm embrace. Lorian's calm voice floated through. The echoes are memories, pieces of harmony left behind by the old world. But when people forgot how to listen, the echoes drifted away, lost in the folds of time. The visions dimmed softly. Elliot looked down at his hands. "Why show me this?" he asked gently. The guardian stepped closer. Its presence felt like a slow, soothing tide. "Because Avaloria has not given up," it said. "It has been waiting for someone who can listen, not with their ears, but with their heart." Silence settled, deep and peaceful. Horsi, the prophecy of the quiet heart. The guardian raised its staff, a tall, misshaped rod, topped with a glowing crystal. A circle of light appeared around Elliot's feet, cool, calming, like moonlight on water. Lorian spoke softly, slowly, each word stretching like a warm lullaby. When the heart of a wanderer beats in rhythm with the forgotten lands, the echoes shall awaken, and Avaloria will breathe again. Elliot felt something shift inside him, not fear, not surprise, but a deep, gentle understanding, almost like the pieces of a dream falling into place. "I don't know if I'm the one," he whispered honestly. The guardian's glowing eyes softened. "Those who doubt themselves are often the ones chosen by destiny." The room fell silent. Only Elliot's calm breathing and the slow flicker of golden pages filled the space. Across the path beyond the library, Lorian turned and began floating slowly toward the back of the room. A hidden door slid open soundlessly, revealing a long corridor lit by tiny lanterns hanging like suspended fireflies. Come?" the guardian whispered, its voice steady and soothing. "There is something you must see." Elliot followed, his steps slow and quiet. The corridor led into an open cavern, vast and ancient. Gentle streams of light fell from cracks in the ceiling, illuminating a massive stone tablet, its carvings glowing faintly. "This," the guardian said, "is the Echo Tablet." Elliot stepped closer. The carvings were soft, round, almost flowing, lines that felt alive. As he touched the stone gently, a warm pulse moved beneath his fingers. The guardian spoke. "Every echo lost in time is stored within this tablet, but they remain silent until someone worthy awakens them." Elliot looked up slowly. "What must I do?" Lorian raised its staff. "Listen." That was all. Just one word. Elliot closed his eyes, took a slow breath, and listened. At first there was nothing. Then a faint chime, soft, distant, like a bell heard underwater. then another, and another, not loud, not sharp, but comforting, like the hum of the earth, like memories singing themselves back into existence. The echo tablet glowed. A soft, warm light spread across its surface, gentle waves flowing outward in slow motion. Elliot opened his eyes. The guardian nodded. The first echo has awakened. Torch Valoria responds. Far above the cavern, through the cracks in the stone ceiling, the sky brightened slightly, not with sunlight, but with a soft golden shimmer. It drifted over the valley, touching the flowers, the hills, the creatures. A long-forgotten peace was returning, but it was only the beginning. The guardian turned to Elliot. There are more echoes, it said, hidden across Avaloria. Each must be awakened. Each holds a memory that will restore the kingdom. Elliot breathed deeply, feeling both calm and ready. Where do I go next? He asked softly. The cavern filled with a slow, deep hum, ancient and soothing. The guardian extended a hand. A new path formed from mist and light, leading upward into the golden morning air above. To the Valley of Lanterns, Lorien whispered. I'll know what your next echo awaits you there. Into the gentle morning. Elliot stepped out of the cavern and into the soft glow of an early Avalorian morning. The air felt warmer now, as though the valley itself recognized the awakening of the first echo. Golden motes floated in the sky, drifting lazily like tiny lanterns made of sunlight. Elliot closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. The calmness of the world slipped into his breath, quiet, steady, comforting. Behind him, the guardian of echoes remained at the cavern entrance, its form gently shimmering. Follow the golden breeze, Lorien whispered, its voice like a warm sigh. It will lead you to the Valley of Lanterns. Elliot nodded softly and began walking in the path of whispering grass. The trail wound gently down the side of the hill. Tall grass brushed his legs, each blade making a quiet, soothing sound, almost like soft humming. Every step Elliot took felt slower, lighter, as though the earth itself was carrying him gently forward. Birds with pale green wings glided overhead, their movements slow and graceful. Some settled on branches and watched Elliot pass, not fearful, not curious, just peaceful. The golden motes in the air guided him, floating ahead like warm lights, leading a traveler through a dream. After a long, calm walk, the ground began to slope downward. Elliot reached the edge of a cliff, not a steep or frightening one, but a wide, gentle ledge overlooking a breathtaking valley, the Valley of Lanterns. Or the first glimpse of the valley. Below him, hundreds of tiny glowing lanterns floated in slow spirals. Some drifted near the ground, others hovered halfway up, and a few rose high into the warm morning sky. But these lanterns were not made of paper or flame. They looked alive, as though crafted from gentle moonlight and soft breath. They pulsed faintly, slow glowing and slow dimming, a rhythm that could lull even the busiest mind into calm. Elliot felt something melt inside him, a quiet release of tension he didn't even know he carried. The valley's magic was not loud. It didn't sparkle or shout. It simply soothed. Breathing slowly, Elliot followed the path downward, through lantern spirits. As he entered the valley floor, the lanterns swayed toward him, seemingly aware of his presence. One drifted close, hovering at eye level. Its glow warmed Elliot's face. Inside the lantern, he could see a swirling pattern, soft lines of light, moving like sleepy clouds. The lantern emitted a faint hum, slow, steady, like a lullaby from another world. Then another lantern approached, and another. Soon Elliot was surrounded in a ring of calm, floating lights. Not dangerous, not overwhelming, just peaceful, he whispered. Are you guiding me? The lanterns pulsed in soft agreement. They drifted slowly ahead, forming a path of floating lights. Elliot followed. Some of the lantern keeper. Eventually, the lanterns led him to a small wooden bridge that stretched over a mirror-still pond. In the center of the pond stood a round platform and an old man in simple robes. His beard was long and white, his posture calm, as if he had been standing there for 100 quiet years. Tiny lanterns floated around him, hovering like gentle companions. When Elliot stepped onto the bridge, the old man lifted his head and smiled. Welcome, traveler, he said softly. I am Siron, keeper of the lanterns. Elliot bowed slightly. I'm searching for the next echo, he said. Siron nodded slowly, his eyes warm and wise. Every lantern in this valley holds a memory, he explained. Ari, some bright, some fading, some waiting to be heard. He extended his hand. A lantern floated to him, larger than the others, glowing with deeper amber light. This is the Lantern of Echoes, Siron whispered. It responds only to those who listen with a quiet heart. Elliot felt his chest tighten, not in fear, but in a gentle awe. What must I do? He asked softly. The lantern keeper pointed to the round platform at the center of the pond. Stand there, hold the lantern, and breathe. Is awakening the second echo. Elliot stepped onto the platform. The water around him was so still that it looked like a sheet of glass. The lantern floated into his hands, warm, soft, almost alive. He closed his eyes and breathed, slowly, deeply, letting his mind settle, like sand sinking, to the bottom of a calm lake. The lantern vibrated gently. A low hum echoed through the valley. Lanterns around him brightened, one by one, as if joining in a choir of silent light. Then the deeper amber lantern in his hands released a soft pulse. A memory formed before his eyes. Breathed the memory of harmony. He saw Avaloria again, in a time long past, villagers placing lanterns on this very pond, each lantern holding a wish, a hope, or a piece of love they wanted to share. Children ran through the valley with glowing orbs in their hands. Families sat on blankets, telling peaceful stories. Dreamers released lanterns that drifted slowly into the starry sky. The valley hummed with warmth and unity, and then the memory faded gently, like evening light. The lantern in Elliot's hands brightened one final time, and then dissolved into a soft shower of sparks. The second echo had awakened. Elliot opened his eyes slowly. The lantern keeper watched him with pride. "You have done well," Siron murmured. The echo of harmony returns to Avaloria, like the new path reveals itself. The pond shimmered, the lantern swayed, the valley brightened. A glowing path of light formed at the far end of the valley. Siron spoke softly. Follow that path, Elliot. It leads to the Meadow of Whispers. There, the third echo awaits." Elliot bowed gratefully. The lanterns parted, opening the way. Soft light glowed beneath his feet as he stepped forward into the warm, dreamlike meadow beyond. The journey continued, slow, peaceful, guided by echoes of a forgotten world, waking back to life. Through this soft and endless meadow, Elliot stepped out of the valley of lanterns and onto a narrow path lined with smooth stones. The air grew lighter, warmer, almost velvety. With each step, the soft hum of lanterns faded behind him, and a new sound emerged. A whisper, gentle, continuous, like the faint rustle of silk. The path opened into a vast meadow, stretching farther than the eye could see. Tall grass shimmered with silver dew, sparkling softly in the morning breeze. Small white flowers opened and closed as if breathing. Slow, calm, peaceful, the whispers grew clearer. Not words, not voices, but feelings, comfort, memory, home. Elliot paused, letting the soft murmurs wash over him. The whole meadow felt alive, but not in a loud or frightening way. Alive like a dream that welcomes you, alive like a lullaby, sung without sound. All creatures of the meadow. As Elliot walked deeper, tiny shapes rose from the grass. Small creatures, round and fluffy, with long feathery ears that swayed gently like the petals of a flower. Their eyes glowed softly, pale blue, calm, reassuring. One hopped toward Elliot and rested against his leg like a soft cushion. Elliot smiled and gently stroked its fur. It felt warm, like holding a dream. More of them gathered, moving in slow circles around him. They made no sound, only soft vibrations that traveled through the air like heartbeats in harmony. The whispers in the meadow grew slightly stronger, as if welcoming Elliot more and more with every step. Followed the wind that remembers. Soon the gentle creatures parted the grass ahead, forming a natural path. Elliot followed. A soft wind rose behind him, but not like any wind he'd ever felt. This wind carried emotions, small, soft, quiet emotions, like memories wrapped in clouds. As it brushed past him, Elliot felt something unusual, a feeling of recognition, as if the meadow knew him, as if it remembered him from a time long before he existed. The whispers layered gently like distant lullabies. Welcome, quiet one, listener, wanderer. Elliot's breathing slowed, matching the rhythm of the meadow. For moments at a time, he felt weightless, as though floating through someone else's dream. Cirque, the blossom of echoes. At the center of the meadow stood a single tree, tall, graceful, its trunk pale silver, its leaves soft pink and translucent, like petals made of dawn. Around the tree, the whispers grew stronger, still gentle, but more focused. Elliot approached, each step slow and steady. At the base of the tree grew one glowing flower, a large blossom with petals that shimmered like moonlit glass. It pulsed faintly with light. Elliot understood instinctively. This was the third echo. He knelt carefully beside it. The petals opened slightly, as if responding to his calm presence. Elliot placed both hands around the blossom, not touching it, just enveloping it. With gentle intention, the whispers quieted, and everything became still. Carson, the echo of memory. The meadow darkened, not into night, but into a deep, peaceful dusk. The glowing blossom brightened, images formed in the air above it, soft, slow-moving memories of Avaloria's past. He saw children running through this meadow with ribbons fluttering behind them, villagers lying on the soft grass, listening to the whispers and telling stories about dreams and hopes, families resting here after long days, holding hands and sharing quiet moments together, and older wanderers, travelers from distant lands, finding safety and sleep under the whispering tree. The meadow wasn't just a place, it was a memory keeper, a sanctuary of emotions that Avaloria cherished. As Elliot watched, the vision slowed, softened, and drifted away like petals carried on a gentle breeze. A warm pulse rose from the glowing flower. The third echo awakened, began a gentle transformation. The meadow brightened. The whispers changed. Now they were softer, happier, more complete. The tall grasses swayed in harmony. The tiny meadow creatures gathered in a ring around Elliot, their glowing eyes calm, as if thanking him. Above, the evergreen sky glimmered with faint streaks of silver light, echoes released into the world once more. Elliot stood slowly. The blossom closed, its purpose fulfilled. A new bud began to form. Beside it, evidence that the meadow was healing. Elliot felt warmth spread across his chest, the kind of warmth that promised hope. Saw a new guide appears. Through the tall grass ahead, a shape approached, slow, silent, peaceful, a deer-like creature, but not ordinary. Its body shimmered with faint luminescence, its antlers blooming with tiny flowers that glowed softly. Its eyes, deep calming gold, held ancient wisdom. The creature bowed its head. Elliot felt an immediate connection, as though he had known this gentle being from a past dream. The creature touched the ground with its hoof. A new path glowed in the grass, a path leading toward distant hills, bathed in pale sunlight. The whispers around him said, "The next echo lies in the hills of memory." The deer turned and walked forward slowly, inviting Elliot to follow. Elliot took one last look at the peaceful meadow, a place he would remember long after his journey ended. Then with quiet resolve, He stepped forward and followed the glowing guide toward the hills beyond. The journey continued, calm, steady, carried by whispers of a world awakening. Croissant, a soft journey toward the hills. Elliot followed the glowing deer as the whispering meadow faded behind him. The air grew warmer, and the sky softened into pastel shades, pale lavender, soft peach, and quiet gold. The path ahead rose gently, curving into rolling hills that shimmered faintly as if dusted with morning light. Each hill seemed to breathe, lifting slowly and settling again like a sleeping giant's breath. Elliot walked at an easy pace, matching the calm rhythm of the land around him. The deer moved gracefully, its hooves making no sound, its antlers glowing faintly like petals warmed by sunlight. Every few steps, it would glance back, not to hurry Elliot, but to reassure him. You're safe. You're guided. You're exactly where you should be. Breathed the murmuring grass. As they climbed the first hill, Elliot noticed the grass here was different. It was shorter, softer, and a deep earthy green. When the wind brushed over it, the blades made a gentle sound, not whispers this time, but murmurs, soft, soothing, like a mother telling stories to a half-asleep child. The murmurs wove themselves into a slow melody, a tune that rose and fell with the curve of the hills. The hills seemed to hum with old stories, stories buried but not forgotten. For the first hill, the village that was. At the top of the first hill, the deer stopped. Soft fog rolled across the valley below, and inside the mist, shapes began to form. Not fully real, not illusions, memories. Elliot saw a village, small homes, with curved roofs and glowing windows. Children ran along dusty little paths, their laughter traveling like tiny bells in the air. He saw families sitting together on wooden steps, sharing warm bread and gentle conversations. He saw a baker shaking flour from his hands as he waved to passing travelers, a potter turning clay with slow movements as if shaping dreams, a woman tending her garden with patient care, humming a soft tune that floated up the hill. The deer bowed its head, and the vision grew clearer. Elliot realized these were not just any scenes. They were memories of Avaloria's people, peaceful lives before the kingdom dimmed. The village faded back into mist, but the warmth it carried stayed in Elliot's chest. Right the second hill, a trail of footsteps. They climbed the next hill. This one felt older, quieter, but filled with a different kind of energy. When Elliot reached the top, he saw faint footprints glowing softly on the ground. Small footprints, large ones, some deep, some light, as if made by hurried steps or tired wanderers. As Elliot knelt to touch one, a soft shimmer rose from it. A memory formed, a traveler, walking with a heavy pack, stopping to drink from a stream, and whispering thanks to the hills for guiding him. Another memory appeared, a group of musicians resting under a tree, playing slow melodies that danced through the air like drifting petals. Then an elderly woman, walking alone, her steps slow but filled with purpose. She knelt on the hill, pressing her hand to the earth, whispering, "Remember us, hold our stories." Elliot felt a soft ache surrounding him, not sadness, but tenderness. The hill had kept every footprint, every journey, every quiet promise. The wind changes. As they moved on, the air shifted. A cooler breeze flowed gently across the hills, carrying the smell of old rain and fresh stone. The deer paused, its ears lifting. Something ahead was awakening, not ominous, but powerful. A memory far older than the hilltop village. For wandering travelers, the hills became steeper now, curving into a gentle spiral, as though guiding Elliot toward something sacred, hidden at their heart. The murmurs of the grass grew quieter. The air grew still. Wide of the third hill, stones that speak. At the crest of the next hill stood a ring of stones, tall, smooth, weathered by ages, yet glowing faintly with pale silver veins. They formed a perfect circle around a small clearing where the grass grew, short and soft, like velvet. As Elliot stepped inside, the stones vibrated, a deep, slow hum that resonated in his spine. The deer bowed low, as if entering a sacred place. Elliot placed a hand on the nearest stone. Immediately, a gentle pulse traveled up his arm. Images drifted before him, slow, dreamlike, of Eloria in its earliest days. A young kingdom full of hope. People gathering on this hill to share stories, celebrate seasons, thank the land for its kindness. He saw the first guardians, gentle beings like the deer, guiding travelers with light and patience. He saw the echoes being created, each one a gift to protect the harmony of the kingdom. The stone hummed deeper, a promise long forgotten. When the echoes fall silent, one heart will rise to hear them again. Elliot stepped back, breathing slowly. The third hill had spoken clearly. He was the listener Avaloria had waited for. The fourth hill, the sleeping echo. The deer moved again, slow and graceful. Elliot followed, feeling a soft excitement growing inside him. They reached the final hilltop. It was quiet, still, untouched. At the center lay a single stone cradle, shaped like a blooming flower, made of pale marble. Inside it, resting gently, was a glowing object, soft, round, glimmering, like dawn wrapped in crystal. The dwarf fourth echo. It pulsed faintly, but it was dim, as if it slept, a deep, dreamless sleep. Elliot approached slowly. The hills around him held their breath. He reached out and let his fingers hover just above the glowing sphere. Warmth rose from it. Soft and hesitant, Elliot whispered, barely audible. "I'm here," the echo responded. A soft light spread across the hill, slow, gentle, like sunlight finding its way. Through early morning fog, the echo brightened. Its glow deepened, its pulse steadied. Then it lifted from the stone cradle, floating into the air like a rising lantern. The hills vibrated with quiet joy. The fourth echo had awakened. A silent blessing. The glowing deer stepped closer and bowed deeply. Its most respectful gesture yet. The flowers on its antlers bloomed wider, their light expanding like tiny stars. The air filled with soft particles of gold that drifted upward and dissolved in the sky. The hills felt lighter, softer, more alive. Elliot held the echo gently as it floated down into his hands. Its warmth spread through him, not just to his body, but to his memories, his hopes, his quiet fears. The echo understood him, and he understood it. He looked at the deer. Without words, the message was clear. The next destination lay beyond the hills, farther, deeper, more mysterious. Crossed it toward the Valley of Mirrors. The deer turned toward a distant horizon, far away, beyond rolling hills and quiet fields. Elliot saw a shimmering valley. Its surface reflected the sky above like flowing glass, a place where the world looked at itself. The Valley of Mirrors, where truth slept and illusions dissolved, where the fifth echo waited. Elliot took a slow breath, steady and calm. With the fourth echo glowing softly at his side, he stepped forward to follow the deer toward the shifting valley far beyond. The journey was only growing deeper, and Avaloria was slowly waking. A valley made of reflections. Elliot followed the glowing deer down from the last hill. The air cooled with every step. Mist drifted around them, thin ribbons of silver fog. that curled and uncurled like breath in winter. Ahead, the land dipped into a deep, wide valley. But this valley was not like any Elliot had ever seen. Its floor shimmered. Every surface, every stone, every ripple of earth, every curve of the ground reflected light like polished glass. Not harsh, not blinding, soft, dreamy, like moonlight floating on a quiet lake. This was the Valley of Mirrors, Huron, a place where the past, the present, and the quiet truths beneath the heart all gathered and gently revealed themselves. The deer paused, letting Elliot take in the sight. Even from the edge, he could feel a strange calm pull, not dangerous, but deeply peaceful, as if the valley was calling to him, quietly, patiently, like an old friend. Toward the air that holds secrets. As Elliot stepped onto the valley floor, the air shifted. It felt heavier, not oppressively, but like a warm blanket laid across the shoulders. The ground beneath his feet felt smooth, almost liquid, yet solid enough to walk on. Every step he took created ripples of reflected sky that spread outward in gentle circles. The deer walked beside him, its body glowing softly in the mirrored surface, its reflection shimmering as though made of light. Elliot noticed something curious. The reflections were not exact copies. Sometimes the mirrored Elliot looked slightly older, sometimes younger. Sometimes he looked calm, sometimes unsure, sometimes, just for a moment, he looked braver than he felt. The valley was showing possibilities, not illusions, not lies, just gentle truths that lived quietly inside every heart. Oh, the first reflection, the child of wonder. As Elliot walked deeper, one mirror-like pool glowed brighter. He stopped. The surface rippled and then stilled. A reflection appeared, but not of him as he was. It showed Elliot as a child. Small feet, wide eyes, hair tousled from running through fields. The child Elliot held a tiny wooden whistle and blew into it, sending out a wobbly, cheerful note. Elliot felt warmth spread inside his chest. He remembered the first time he ever heard an echo, a tiny one, faint, almost imaginary, but real enough to awaken his curiosity about forgotten things. The child in the reflection smiled warmly at him. Not a magical vision, not a warning, just a reminder that wonder was his first guide, long before courage or purpose. The reflection dissolved into soft ripples. The valley had shown its first truth. The second reflection, the quiet fear. Further ahead, another reflection brightened. This one was darker, not frightening, just honest. Elliot leaned closer. He saw himself standing alone in a dim, empty room. His hands were clenched, his breath shallow, his eyes searching for something he couldn't name. He remembered the moment, a lonely night, when he doubted whether he could truly change anything. A night when he wondered if listening was enough. The valley did not judge. It only showed. The deer pressed its warm forehead gently against Elliot's shoulder, as if to remind him, fear is not a flaw. Fear is a doorway. The reflection softened and faded like mist dissolving under morning light. Elliot exhaled slowly. He felt lighter. First to the third reflection, the path ahead. The deepest part of the valley sat in a quiet hollow, surrounded by smooth ridges of mirrored stone. Here, the reflections flowed together, forming a wide pool, glowing with soft silver light. Elliot knelt beside it. The surface shifted, and a new image appeared. He saw himself walking through Avaloria, but he was not alone. The people of the kingdom, children, villagers, travelers, guardians, walked behind him with gentle smiles, not following him like a leader, following him like a friend who carries light. He saw lanterns glowing again, meadows blooming, hills humming, stone circles shining, rivers clearing. He saw Avaloria awakening slowly, peacefully, beautifully, because he was listening, because he cared. The reflection grew brighter, a voice not spoken, but felt whispered. The fifth echo lies within the truth you are willing to see. Elliot touched the surface with one finger. The reflection broke, not shattered, just expanded, light growing outward in gentle waves. A small orb rose from the center of the pool, soft, silver, calm. The fifth echo. It floated upward like a drifting lantern and settled into Elliot's open hands. Warm, steady, peaceful, a perfect mirror of his journey so far. Poised here in the valley's blessing. The entire valley brightened. Light flowed through cracks in the mirrored ground, rising like soft glittering smoke. The reflections returned, but now they showed nothing except gentle waves of calm light. The valley was satisfied. It had offered its truths. It had given its echo. It had awakened. The deer circled Elliot once, its antlers blooming with new blossoms that glowed like stars. Then it looked toward the distant horizon, far, far away, beyond forests. and mountains and deep blue rivers. Elliot saw a faint light pulsing, golden, warm, alive, a place beyond maps, a place older than the kingdom, the place of the Kira final echo, the heart of Avaloria. The deer bowed its head. Elliot tightened his grip around the glowing fifth echo. The long journey was nearing its deepest chapter. The next steps would lead him toward the very soul of the forgotten kingdom. With calm determination, he stepped out of the Valley of Mirrors and into the path ahead. Veloria waited. For the forest of echoing stars. Elliot walked beyond the Valley of Mirrors, with the glowing deer beside him. Ahead stretched a dark ancient forest, but its darkness was gentle, welcoming. The trees rose tall, their bark deep blue, their leaves shimmering softly, like tiny stars caught in branches. Lights drifted through the air, not fireflies, not magic sparks, but tiny fragments of starlight that pulsed with slow, sleepy rhythm. This was the Tyr forest of echoing stars, a place where the sky and the earth whispered to each other. The forest hummed, low, peaceful, like a cradle song that never ended. With every breath, Elliot felt the world grow quieter, deeper, as if guiding him into its oldest dream. The trees that speak without words. As Elliot walked deeper, the trees began to glow softly, from roots to branches, like slow-moving rivers of light, flowing inside their trunks. He touched one gently. Instantly, a faint memory rose. A child laughing in a field of flowers. He touched another. A pair of travelers sharing stories under a lantern-lit sky. He touched a third. A soft melody played on a wooden flute in a distant time. The forest did not show sorrow. It did not show fear. It only showed the tender moments that Avaloria once held dear, peaceful memories that waited quietly for someone to honor them. Elliot felt warmth build in his chest. The trees responded to the echoes he carried. They knew why he had come. Out in a river of quiet light, the forest opened into a wide clearing. In the center flowed a river, but not of water. It was a river of light, soft, liquid, shimmering like melted moonlight. The deer stepped onto it, its hooves sending gentle ripples across the glowing current. Elliot hesitated for just a moment, then placed one foot onto the river. It held him. The surface was warm, calm, like stepping on soft cloud. The river carried them forward, without a sound, gliding deeper into the heart of the forest. Above, the leaves shimmered. Below, The river glowed. The world seemed to breathe. Elliot felt as if he were drifting inside a dream that remembered him. Sourcing the last guardian. The river widened into a vast circle of light, and there, standing in the center, was a creature unlike any Elliot had ever seen. Tall, elegant, with wings made of soft starlight. Its eyes glowed with endless calm, ancient, gentle, and wise. It bowed its head. The deer beside Elliot bowed in return and stepped back, as if saying, "This part you must do alone." The winged guardian spoke, not with voice, but with a feeling that filled the air. "You carry the 5 echoes. You have listened to the forgotten. You have walked with courage and with kindness. Now you stand before the heart of our sleeping world." Elliot felt his breath slow, his heartbeat quiet, his thoughts soften. He stepped forward with gentle resolve. Sorcia, the heart of Avaloria. At the guardian's feet lay a stone pedestal, smooth white, almost glowing. Floating above it was a small dim sphere, the 6th echo, the final one. But something was different. It did not glow with its own light. It pulsed weakly, as if waiting for Elliot. The guardian folded its wings and lowered its head. The heart cannot awaken by power alone. It awakens through presence, through truth, through one who truly listens. Elliot stepped forward. He placed the 5 glowing echoes around the dim 6th one, arranging them in a ring, like tiny moons circling a star. The forest hushed. The river dimmed. The stars in the leaves held perfectly still. Elliot closed his eyes. He placed both hands on the final echo. It was cool at first, then warm, then bright. He whispered softly, "You're not forgotten. I hear you. I'm here." Yesomber, the awakening. Light burst. Or, but softly, quietly, like warm dawn, spreading across a calm lake. The echo brightened. In Elliot's hands, the 5 surrounding it answered, pulsing together like a slow heartbeat. The forest lit up. Every tree, every leaf, every drifting star fragment. The river flowed upward in spirals of silver mist. The guardian spread its wings, and the world began to sing, not loudly, not sharply, a slow, soothing song, the first voice of Avaloria. In 1,000 years, the echo rose from Elliot's palms, floating gently. It joined the others in a circle of perfect glow. The 6 echoes merged. Their light softened, deepened, and then expanded outward in a wave that washed across the kingdom with quiet tenderness. Philodia awakened. As the kingdom restored, Elliot saw visions, lanterns relighting in the Valley of Lanterns, flowers opening in the Meadow of Whispers, footprints glowing on the hills of memory, stones humming in ancient circles, reflections clearing in the Valley of Mirrors, and the stars shining again in the forest of echoing stars. The echoes returned to their places. The kingdom breathed, and peace settled like soft snow across the land. There's a gentle goodbye. The guardian bowed to Elliot, a gesture of deep gratitude. The deer touched its forehead to Elliot's hand and stepped back into the shimmering forest. Elliot felt no sadness, only warmth, calm, a soft glowing fulfillment. The path home unfolded before him, lined with lights from every echo he'd awakened. As he walked, he felt Avaloria watching him, not with fear, not with need, but with love. A quiet, ancient love renewed through him. Nazareth Redener. When Elliot reached the edge of the kingdom, he looked back. The sky glowed, the hills shimmered, the forests breathed, the rivers pulsed like gentle stars. Philodia was no longer forgotten because one person had listened. Elliot smiled softly and whispered, "Thank you." And with peaceful steps, he walked into the horizon, a listener, a wanderer, and the quiet hero of a kingdom born from dreams